What's up, guys? In this video, I want to talk to you about two things that I integrated into my game that completely, I would say these two things really took me to the next level in terms of game. Not that I was really bad to begin with. I would say I was kind of like solid intermediate before, but this took me into, I would say, like high level intermediate. Still not quite advanced, I would say, but high intermediate is kind of like these two things that I started doing that really helped me. The first one is premise. And the second one is push-pull, and really combining these two things together. So first, let's talk a little bit about premise. Now, if any of you have seen Todd V's videos, RSD Todd, then you'll know that he talks a lot about premise. Okay, so I might be mangling the description here. I'm sure he can explain it a lot better than I can. But premise is basically where you inject these little comments or phrases or jokes into a conversation so that the girl knows, or that it makes it clear to her that this is not just a platonic conversation. These don't have to be serious statements. They don't have to be like, you don't have to say like, I'm actually looking for a girlfriend right now, and this conversation is for me to determine if you would make a good girlfriend. That's actually that might work because it's so ridiculous. But you don't want to do that, like, unless you don't want to say that in so many words if you're being serious about it, right? That's kind of just creepy and weird. But what you want to do is you want to kind of convey that concept, right? Now, full disclosure, I was part of Todd V's coaching program. He's got a 3-month coaching program, and I've worked with one of his coaches for about 3 months. Program is currently on hold as a result of what's going on in the world right now, but I do plan on picking it back up once this is over and I can start going out again. So some of the ways that I would start injecting premise into a conversation would be to make kind of casual statements to the girl I was talking to, really just jokes, honestly, about how, she would say something and I would say, well, if you keep talking like that, I'm not going to make you my girlfriend. Just kind of jokes like that. Like, obviously I'm joking, but it's at least you're like floating the idea that you're going to be more than friends, right? Kind of little things like that, right? And this is something that literally even one statement of premise is kind of enough to make it clear to her that you're there for more than just like a casual platonic conversation. Todd talks about something, it's called filling the premise bucket. And he says that you don't need to have it filled all the way, right? You just need to get it up to an acceptable depth or fullness, I guess. And it kind of, suss it out, like calibrate and see like how many statements you actually need to inject into the conversation to get it to that level, but it really shouldn't require that many. Now, a very effective way to do this that I've found is to combine it with push-pull. Now, if you've studied pickup, or if you've done pickup, or if you've obsessively watched videos about pickup on the internet for years, like I used to do, and like I'm sure many of you do, you know about this idea of push-pull, right? Cocky, funny, push-pull. You basically tease the girl, and that's kind of what push-pull has turned into. It's like a lot of people confuse push-pull with really just teasing or negging, which, everybody's got an opinion about that, especially people who don't actually really take a close look at pickup. They just maybe heard about it in the mainstream media. So anyway, push-pull is really kind of like it says, you say something nice about the girl or about something that she said, which would be considered the pull, and then you kind of push back, right? So a lot of the times, and this is, a sticking point for me as well, a lot of times I'll be talking to a girl, and if I'm really attracted to her, then I will kind of find myself just like really wanting to like be really nice and supplicate and just kind of compliment her and just kind of be like, not the most attractive man, just kind of be like a very easy, not present a challenge to her, I guess. So I remember one way that I effectively used this. Anyway, and sorry, really quick. The point is that when you do push pull, whatever your first instinct is you kind of say whatever that is, and then you do the opposite, right? So for example, let's say you're talking to a girl and she works out, and you love girls who work out. What you would say, and let's say you're just kind of like compelled to say something good about that. Like, oh my God, you work out? That's so cool. But wait, what kind of workouts do you do? You probably just do like cardio, you know, whatever. Or let's say you just say that, like, oh, you work out? That's so cool. What kind of workouts do you do? And then she says like blah 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 whatever, and you say, oh really? You don't do CrossFit? Oh, okay, you're not cool, right? So the pull is where you're like rewarding her for saying that she works out or something like that, and then the push would be like, oh, like you don't do like this type of workout? Well, you're not cool then, right? So it's like that's the push pull. One time that I used this that sticks out in my mind is when I was at a club, and I was talking to this girl, and like things were going very well, and we were talking, and this specific girl showed up to the club wearing like exercise pants, like those really tight form-fitting pants that, you know, show off the best qualities of a woman's lower body. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And this specific girl, she had like a gigantic ass that was like perfectly shaped. Like, you know, the girls that you see on Instagram that have just like, you look at it and you're like, how is that even possible? That's kind of what this girl looked like. And I was just like, I was kind of surprised that she was actually even talking to me. But things went very well. Like, we talked for a little bit, and then we like went off, you know, to the side to like go talk somewhere more private. And we had already kissed at this point, and we were talking, and she said, somehow we came on the topic of her ass, right? And I said, yeah, like you have a great ass. It's like, it's an amazing quality that you have. Like, looks like you put a lot of work into it, but it's just not big enough for me. Like, I like girls with like a really big ass, right? And it was clear that I was joking. It was obviously a joke, right? But she was like, what? Really? You're saying my ass isn't big enough? She like turned around and like started rubbing it up against me. And anyway, things progressed from there. But basically the idea is that my initial kind of I felt the desire to like compliment her on it, just because that's our natural desire as men, is to just throw everything we have like at a girl in a good way, because we're just nice people most of the time. But then what you need to make sure to do is to like reel it back in and maintain some sort of challenge for a girl. And the reason to do this, obviously, is to not put yourself in the category in the girl's eyes of just another guy who's like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, wow, you're so beautiful. You have such a nice body. Because if she's attractive, she hears stuff like that all the time, and she immediately will categorize you as one of those types of guys who does things like that. If you know, it's not a good category to be in. So these two things, premise and push-pull, when you use them together, are amazing. And if you are kind of stuck at an intermediate level or below, I would say definitely integrate these two things into your game. Like, if you have the sticking point of being stuck in a conversation with a girl and it's not really going anywhere, see what happens when you inject a little bit of premise. Because it's possible, if you're holding a girl's attention and you're getting her to talk to you for 20, 30 minutes, chances are you're like a decent conversationalist, maybe you're good looking, or maybe you've got like a little bit of charm. You've got something going on that's like enabling you to talk to her for that long. But what you're missing is that kind of like potentially polarizing comment where she's forced to think about you in a romantic way. And this is not like, you're not like forcing anything on her. This should be done subtly, where you make a comment referring to her as your potential girlfriend, or saying like, as a joke, you'll never get in my pants talking like that, after she says like anything. Well, it doesn't even really matter, honestly. And actually, now that I think about it, Todd has a very good drill where you intentionally misinterpret what a girl says to you as if she's hitting on you, right? So this is in my first call. This is like a promo video for Todd. I swear it's not. This is just something that I learned from him. So I want to give credit where it's due. This is something that in my first call for him, we did this drill back and forth, and he's obviously like much better at it than I was. Been doing this for so long. But it's a very good drill to do with a partner, or to even just do by yourself when you're doing Tinder game or something like that, to kind of get to basically like inject premise into the conversation. It's very good. It's missing from a lot of people's game. I started doing it, and I noticed a massive increase in my success as a result. Okay, so tell me what you think about that. Do you guys ever use premise? Have you noticed that if you started using it, if you noticed any increases in your success rate? Is there anything else that you've noticed that you started doing that increased your success rate? Also, do you guys have any suggestions for other topics that I could cover in this video? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.